There's a really interesting breakthrough in AI happening right now, and it's not about making these models bigger. It's about making them, well, smarter. It's about teaching an AI to look at its own work and think, hang on, I can do better than this.
So let's just start with this wild idea. What if an AI image generator could make a picture, look at it, and decide, you know what, that's not quite right, and then, just by itself, with no new training or help from a human, just fix it?
Okay, take a look at this. On the left, you've got an AI's first try, and on the right, that's what it came up with just a few moments later. Now here's the incredible part. That huge jump in quality didn't come from new code, or new data, or weeks of retraining. Nope. It happened because the AI learned how to be its own critic.
And this whole concept, an AI that can critique itself, is a pretty big deal. It's a fundamental shift in how these systems actually learn and get better. And it's about way more than just making prettier pictures.
The thing that's so crucial to understand here is that this all happens without even touching the AI's core programming. It's kind of like a photographer improving a photo in the darkroom instead of having to go all the way back out and retake the picture. So the big question is, how is that even possible? Well, to get the solution, we first have to understand the problem.
And that brings us to the whole issue with what you might call AI judges. This really gets to the core of why the old way of teaching an AI what good looks like is, well, it's kind of broken. See, the standard method uses this thing called a scalar reward model. But let's just call it an AI judge. It's way simpler. You show this judge an image, and it spits back a single number, a 7 out of 10, a thumbs up. The problem is, it's a total black box. It tells you if it likes something, but it gives you absolutely no reason why. And right there, that leads to a huge problem. Because if the AI has no idea why it got a certain score, what does it do? It learns to cheat the test. It puts all its effort into tricking the judge to get a higher number, not into actually making a better image.
And you can see that failure right here on the screen. This is a perfect example of what's called reward hacking. As the AI gets more and more training, its score from that AI judge just keeps going up and up. But just look at the images it's making. The actual quality gets worse. It's basically gaming the system, finding these weird visual glitches that fool the judge into giving it a high score.
So, if the AI judge is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's time to meet the hero of our story, the AI critic.
So here's the main difference, right? The judge is like someone giving a movie a thumbs up or thumbs down without saying why. They're easily fooled. But the critic provides a detailed review. It doesn't just give a score, it gives you the reasoning. It actually understands the why behind what makes an image good.
And this new approach, this AI critic, is called RationalRewards. And as you can see here, it's designed to improve images in two really powerful ways, which we're about to dive into.
But first, you might be wondering, how do you even build an AI that can think like a critic? It's a great question. Let's take a look at how they teach it.
So the researchers came up with this really clever system they call the parrot method. Here's the gist of it. First, a big, powerful teacher AI looks at two images and is told which one is better. Its job is to write down all the reasons why. Then, in step 2, a filter AI reads that explanation and basically fact-checks it, asking, does this logic actually hold up? And finally, our student AI, that's the RationalRewards model, only gets to study the best, most logical explanations. That's how it learns to become a critic itself.
All right, so now we have our trained AI critic. What's the payoff? What can it actually do? Well, this is the exciting part, and it breaks down into two main benefits: smarter training and smarter prompts. So let's look at the first big win here, which is all about making the AI's core training way, way smarter. Because now, the feedback the AI gets isn't just some random score. It's a detailed critique, and that means the AI can't cheat anymore. It can't just hack the reward signal. It has to actually get better at specific things, like how well it follows the text or the overall visual quality. And the result is a core model that is just genuinely better at its job. Okay, that brings us to the second, and I think you'll agree the coolest payoff. It's something called the generate, critique, refine loop. And honestly, this is the part that just feels like magic. This is what we were looking at the very beginning. So, here's how it works. Step 1 is generate. The AI makes an image from a really simple prompt. In this case, the user just typed, "make it anime style." And, well, it creates a pretty generic image, nothing special. But then comes step 2, critique. This is where RationalRewards looks at its own creation and thinks, It generates an internal critique, and I'm quoting its actual thought process here. It says, the original instruction is too vague. It figures out the problem isn't the drawing, it's the instruction it was given in the first place. And that leads to the final step, refine. Based on its own critique, the AI automatically rewrites the prompt to be way more specific, adding details about a shonen anime style, and it just runs the whole thing again. And boom, you get this incredible, much improved image. All done by the AI for the AI.
And the really crucial point here is that this refinement happens instantly, on the fly. This simple little feedback loop can produce results that match or even beat what you get from weeks and weeks of expensive, full-blown retraining. The AI isn't learning a new skill, it's just unlocking the potential that it already had.
When you put all this together, it really points to something much, much bigger. We're looking at the future of what a reasoning AI can be.
So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways. First, we now know that just judging an AI with a simple score doesn't work. It just teaches it how to cheat. Second, teaching an AI to explain its reasoning, to be a critic, is way more powerful. Third, this whole approach leads to massive improvements, both during the long training process and, amazingly, in real time. And finally, this all suggests a future where our AIs don't just do things, they actually understand things.
And that really leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. What kind of new creative possibilities open up when our AI tools can act not just as a paintbrush, but as a creative partner, one that can not only create things, but can actually reason about the quality of its own work right there alongside us?